Their graduation vacation went very badly when a crocodile monster appeared and preyed on them one by one. They were trapped and had to find a way to get out of the crocodile's nest. At the beginning of the film, there was a place filled with many people making illegal drugs. The actions they did were illegal, and it seemed that the authorities had sniffed out their movements and locations. A few moments later, the joint team eradicated the people until chaos broke out there. Some even deliberately dumped a chemical liquid into the river to eliminate evidence. However, the authorities stopped the man's actions and shot him. Unfortunately, the dangerous liquid reached the river filled with crocodiles until it was polluted. While on the other hand, there was a young woman named Kyle who was attending lectures at a campus. Kyle, a biology student, studied many sciences including wild animals, one of which was crocodiles. His intelligence made the lecturer amazed by him. The lecture for that day was over, and now Kyle will enter a long vacation. Kyle was visited by a friend named Alice. They had made a promise to go on vacation together. But it turns out that Alice brought some other friends, Malika and Sam. At first, Kyle didn't really like this surprise, but in the end, they started traveling together. Besides vacationing, it turns out that Kyle also has another goal: to scatter the ashes of his brother named Jamie. Jamie is a good person and is liked by many people, including Malika. Sam and Malika are friends of Jamie. Kyle still can't lose Jamie. Sometimes he plays Jamie's old recordings just to relieve his longing. That night, they stopped at a motel, and the next morning they went on their journey again. They stopped at a gas station because Sam and Malika wanted to pee. But in between, Kyle saw many warning posters about crocodiles. Visitors must be careful because in the last few months, the crocodiles around the swamps have become very fierce and wild. This was even reinforced by an old man while warning Kyle to be more careful. So their goal was to go to a remote swamp in Louisiana. And it turns out they won't continue by land vehicle. Malika has hired someone and a pilot to fly with her small plane. Even though Malika actually knows that Kyle is afraid of heights, but she doesn't care and wants something fun. A man named Frank will guide them flying across the Louisiana swamps. Besides that, there are several other passengers who will join them. When the flight has only been running for a few minutes, a problem arises. Initially because a man called on the plane and then someone reprimanded him. The man who reprimanded him then hit his head until he died instantly, accompanied by a problematic plane engine. The small plane crashed into a swamp that was said to be full of crocodiles, but they still didn't realize it. Kyle and the others tried to get to land. One of the women named Zoe suffered a serious injury and needed immediate treatment, but that would be impossible. The location is very difficult to reach by cellular signal. They look desperate. No maps or GPS will make their chances of getting out of there very small, especially since none of them brought food. In between that, Alice tried to look around and found some crocodile eggs. For some reason, Alice took the eggs and only left one. Or maybe she wanted to make the egg a source of food. Meanwhile, Zoe saw their plane pilot suddenly appear on the surface. The pilot seemed motionless. Frank, Alec, and Sam tried to approach him, but suddenly a very large crocodile pounced on the pilot. They all became very panicked and shocked to see a crocodile that big. They had to leave the location and seek shelter. A few hundred meters walking, they stopped for a moment to rest. Their journey to seek shelter was led by Kyle, and that raised a big question mark for Malika. Why did Kyle have to lead? The answer is quite simple, because Kyle understands nature better. Even many supported Kyle to continue leading them, including Frank. The day was getting dark. They had no choice but to stay there without a tent or something to protect them. While the others were asleep, a man was still awake and heard his cell phone ringing. He hurriedly took his cell phone, but unfortunately the man was attacked by a large crocodile. But strangely, the man was not eaten by the crocodile. Kyle and the others felt that their location was indeed not safe. But strangely, why did the crocodile act like that? Crocodiles will not attack humans if they are in a nest or hungry. Frank explained that in the past in this swamp, there was a place to make medicines and chemicals. The chemical liquid spread and polluted the river until the crocodiles were contaminated. They became wilder and fiercer. Then they continued their journey, but Kyle felt something was wrong. Kyle could see and feel that there was a crocodile stalking them from his voice. An old woman was too far from the group. Kyle asked her not to move. While Kyle and the others were making plans to escape together, once the plan was made, the old woman was attacked by a crocodile, until the crocodiles started to appear and wanted to attack them. They hurriedly took shelter in a small cabin. Zoe was bitten on her leg. Luckily, she was able to escape and survive. For the time being, they were able to take shelter and stay overnight in the small cabin, but they had to take turns sleeping. When Kyle slept, he dreamed about Jamie when he had a bad experience and died. So at that time, Kyle and Jamie were in a mini market and a man tried to rob them. Jamie couldn't see anyone else being hurt, so Jamie secretly tried to paralyze the man. But unfortunately, the robber had a friend, and his friend held Jamie hostage. Kyle should have been able to help Jamie using the robber's weapon, but he was too late. Jamie was shot first, so he didn't survive. Until now, he still feels guilty. At that time, Sam found a map from the cabin drawer. The map seemed to show a way to the building. They had to go there, but Malika felt they should have stayed there. There were lots of crocodiles outside, and they would probably be easy food for the crocodiles. The problem is, how long are they going to stay there? The voting has been done, and it turns out that many agreed to go with Kyle compared to Malika. Like it or not, Malika finally joined them. Their journey was hampered again. There was a river, and if they crossed the river, they would not know what other dangers would befall them. But Kyle had a brilliant idea that could be dangerous at the same time. So they would make a raft to go down the river. If seen from the map, this river would take them to their destination faster. Of course, Malika was against it again, but she couldn't do anything. When the others were busy making the raft, Alice accidentally found a sleeping crocodile. Alice killed the crocodile using a piece of wood. After the raft was finished, they hurriedly boarded it. But another crocodile appeared and tried to chase them. Zoe felt that it was her time. She couldn't possibly hold out any longer. So Zoe decided to sacrifice herself as crocodile bait so that the others could escape. Dom was the most devastated to see his lover become a crocodile meal. After going through a bad day and a long river, they finally arrived at an abandoned building. That building was used to make illegal drugs at the beginning of the film. Inside, there were many bloodstains and crocodile footprints. There was even a crocodile sleeping there, and it was quite big. They divided two teams to explore the building and take items that could still be used. Dom with Kyle and Sam, while Frank with Alice and Malika. Frank asked Alice to check another room. Then Frank took the opportunity to teach Malika a lesson. Frank didn't really like Malik because of his behavior that always wanted to win. Frank deliberately wanted to drop Malika, but behind Frank didn't realize there was a crocodile that pounced on him. Malika screamed for help. Luckily, Kyle and the others were on time to save Malika. Now they continue their search. Kyle found a room that seemed like a way out, but they had to pass a large crocodile sleeping in front of them. One by one, they managed to get through it, but Sam didn't make it and was attacked by the crocodile. At that time, Kyle found a radio and managed to ask for help. Although a few moments later, the connection was cut off because the power went out. Kyle also found a weapon to survive. After that, they headed for the exit. It was better for them to face the crocodile monster than to stay there. Alice tried to give the eggs to the crocodile, hoping they could get through easily. But unfortunately, it didn't work. Alice's hand became the target. Kyle fired a shot at the crocodile, spilling oil around it. Kyle passed the crocodile and burned it alive. They managed to get out and were rescued by helicopter. A few weeks after the incident, Kyle scattered Jamie's ashes. Jamie will always be in his heart, forever.